Hello dears, welcome back. How are you all? I hope all of you are fine and safe at your home. As you know, we completed the first unit and it's time to start the second unit. Can anyone say the name of the second unit? Yes, you are right. Tales and tunes. What do you mean by tales? Yes, tale means story. Then what about tunes? Yes, music. So, in this unit, Tales and Tunes, we are going to study something about the stories and the music. Are you ready to enter the world of stories? Okay. Dears, do you like to listen to stories? Yes, I would like to listen to stories. What kind of stories would you like to read or hear? Tragedy, comedy, animal stories, horror stories? Who tell you stories? Do your parents or grandparents tell you stories? In my childhood, my grandparents used to tell me stories. Do you tell stories? Do you tell stories? Record one of your storytelling in your phone and send me personally. Okay? Anyway, let's read what Vimal's grandmother has to tell him about stories. Let's read it. Vimal is a lucky boy. He has a grandmother who tells him lots of stories. Every night at bedtime there is a story for him. What fantastic stories grandmother has told Vimal. Stories of animals and birds, of clever and senseless people, of magic and music, stars and sages, and many more. One day, Vimal asked his grandmother if stories grew on trees. She laughed and said, "No, not on trees." "Then where do we get the stories from?" Vimal asked. "I got them from my grandmother. I in turn tell you." Vimal, remember to tell your friends these stories so that they can also enjoy them. But Vimal said, "No, I don't want to tell them any of these stories. They are my stories, my treasure. I don't want to give them away." Don't be silly, my boy. Stories are meant to be told. Listen and tell. That's the law of the story kingdom, his grandmother said. When Vimal said he didn't want to share any of the stories that told by his grandmother, the grandmother said that stories are meant to be told. Listen and share. That's the law of the story kingdom. That is what grandmother said to Vimal. Dears, what's your opinion about grandmother's statement? Do you agree with that? Yes, we should agree with the grandmother and we have to listen the stories and share with the others. Do you know, my dear children? Stories go beyond the boundaries of time and space. They led us to wisdom. Have you ever heard about the famous storyteller Aesop? No? Yes? Anyway, here is a short paragraph about Aesop. Please listen carefully and read it along with me.
Aesop was a Greek fabulist and storyteller credited with a number of fables now collectively known as Aesop's fables. Although his existence remains unclear and no writings by him survive. Numerous tales credited to him were gathered across the centuries and in many languages in a storytelling tradition that continues to this day. Many of the tales are characterized by animals and inanimate objects that speak, solve problems, and generally have human characteristics.
Do you understand who is Aesop? Let's read one of Aesop's fables, shall we? But before that, what do you mean by fable? What do you mean by fable? Yes. A fable is a traditional short story that teaches a moral, especially one with an animal as characters. This is what called the fable. And let's read one of Aesop's fables. A rich voyager from Athens was on a voyage with the two companions. In the course of their voyage, a violent storm blew up and capsized the ship. The companions tried to swim ashore, but the rich voyager kept calling on Athena, the goddess of Athens, and promised her lavish offerings if he escaped. One of his shipwrecked companions, as he swam past, shouted to him, "Don't leave it all to Athena. Use your arms as well." Did you enjoy the story? And what message does the fable convey? Yes. Worship alone will not work wonders. Our hard work also is needed to achieve success. Did you like the message of that fable? Did you like the moral of that story? Of that fable? Okay. And do you want to hear another fables of Aesop? Here is one for you.
The Wolf and the Crane. A wolf had been gorging on an animal he had killed, when suddenly a small bone in the meat stuck in his throat and he could not swallow it. He soon felt terrible pain in his throat and ran up and down groaning and seeking for something to relieve the pain. He tried to induce everyone he met to remove the bone. "I would give anything," said he, "if you would take it out." At last, the crane agreed to try and told the wolf to lie on his side and open his jaws as wide as he could. Then the crane put its long neck down the wolf's throat and with its beak loosened the bone, till at last it got it out. "Will you kindly give me that reward you promised?" said the crane. The wolf grinned and showed his teeth and said, "Be content. You have put your head inside a wolf's mouth and taken it out again in safety. That ought to be reward enough for you. Gratitude and greed go not together."
Did you enjoy the story? And here is another one for you. Please read it.
The Ant and the Grasshopper. In a field, one summer's day, a grasshopper was hopping about, chirping and singing to its heart's content. An ant passed by, bearing along with a great toil an ear of corn he was taking to the nest. "Why not come and chat with me?" said the grasshopper. "Instead of toiling and moiling in that way, I am helping to lay up food for the winter," said the ant, "and recommend you to do the same." "Why bother about winter?" said the grasshopper. "We have got plenty of food at present." But the ant went on its way and continued its toil. When the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying of hunger. While it saw the ants distributing everyday corn and grain from the stores they had collected in the summer, then the grasshopper knew it is best to prepare for the days of necessity.
What about this one? Did you enjoy it? So these are called fables. Dears, you can search and read more Aesop's fables on Google. Go and search, then read more than 5 stories of Aesop after watching this video. So in this lesson, we have just started the second unit of stories and music, tales and tunes. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with the another video lesson. Till then, bye.